This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'll hit the gavel again. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the May meeting of the full board. We're grateful to the town of Indian Lake for hosting us here today. For members of the public attending remotely, we ask that you please close other programs on your computer or phone, silence your cell phone, and mute your audio when not speaking. Agendas for today's meeting are available at hrbrrd.ny.gov under board meetings. The conference organizer will monitor the program's chat function for anyone wishing to address the board during the public comment period during the meeting of the full board. For anyone wishing to address the board, kindly use the chat function or email brao@hrbrrd.ny.gov or simply speak up during the public comment period during the full board meeting. We shall begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next roll call, Mr. Leslie.
Board Chair Mark Finkel.
Here.
First Vice Chair Kenneth DeWitt.
Here.
Board members Albert Hayes.
Here.
Richard Byrd.
Here.
Timothy Reagan. Here. And Nicole Allen. Here. On video, Second Vice Chair Alfred J. Candido.
Here.
Executive Director John Callahan.
Here.
General Counsel Robert Leslie. Here. Chief Engineer Robert Fulton.
Here.
Chief Fiscal Officer Timothy Minicha.
Here.
And the Director of Administrative Services Stephanie Rizicki.
Here.
Everybody's accounted for.
Thank you. Now I need a motion to revise the meeting agenda for an executive session.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Introduction of guests. Names, I'm sorry.
Greg Johnson.
Craig Johnson, engineering firm. And public comment period, we have a couple people here. Anybody online have a comment?
Not as of yet.
Okay.
I didn't sign up. Can I just make a comment?
Yeah, yes, you may.
I'm very disappointed that nobody came but us, but we only got the notice yesterday, like 5 o'clock. I opened up my email. Is this a regular meeting that you have constantly?
So we meet monthly, and the meeting is publicly noticed in the newspapers of record and on our website. In addition, I reached out directly to the Indian Lake Association because I thought members might be grateful to know that we'd be here in person. I hadn't mentioned that previously, so it was just a courtesy that we reached out. There's no legal requirement for us to check in with every local organization, but we did it as a courtesy, and we're very grateful that at least you are here today.
I'm very disappointed that other people aren't, just so that we know what's going on our lake and with our dam.
And we also I would also note that we've provided some content for the association's newsletter. We've also hosted officers from the Indian Lake Association for a tour of the dam. And this entire meeting and all the discussion will be available after today's meeting on the website as an archive video. And people can attend and participate in real time also remotely wherever they are. But we always invite the collaboration, the communication, which we value so much, I think, from your organization.
Well, thank you for all being here.
And if you'd like it, there's an extra board packet you can follow along if you'd like to thumb through this as we go.
John, I would just add also that since we've been receiving, and I think we're up to construction observation report number 15 or 16 by now, those reports have all been appended in my engineering report, and those are all published on the district website, and they explain exactly the progress that's been going on at the dam. I'm not sure if they're archived or not, but certainly the most recent edition and the one that's been issued to the board today will be posted shortly.
And the board will be
They've all-
getting out there today after the meeting
Oh,
to check in progress.
Last couple of pages of that board packet is the most recent updates to that.
can we keep this or,
Yes, that's all.
thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Next, I need the approval of the March 11th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes. We have a motion to accept.
I'll make that motion.
Any comments, changes, or anything else? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Did I get a second on that?
Yep.
Mr. Reagan.
Somebody knows I'm not sure. Next, report of our executive director, Mr. Callahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In recognition of our robust agenda, I'll simply note we're happy to complete and publish our customer satisfaction survey. That's a project that I've worked closely with Mr. Reagan on. We'll have, it's still open, so we'll have some more comprehensive results maybe to talk about in the June meeting, but I was able to share some preliminary results with Mr. Reagan. Lots of good feedback, more than 400 responses so far. And already it has driven some things we've communicated again on social media in different ways. So when we notice trends, we like to act on them right away, even before we have the full comprehensive results. Also want to thank everybody, certainly Stephanie Rizicki and our team at SFO and the permit department for the great work in bringing the online work permit application system online. That's a new function of the online permit system generally, and we've gotten really good response on it so far. So Stephanie may have more to say about that, and don't want to steal too much of the thunder. And also just want to note the great job I think the entire senior leadership team has done efforting what you'll hear more from Mr. Manicia about in terms of more good news. You've heard a little from him already via email in this year's enacted state budget. This is how we come to have Greg Johnson joining us today in no small measure, but certainly some good news that will allow us to move some very important work forward. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll just pause for any questions the members may have.
Hey, Jen, just to think, I read those comments, I just want to echo what Jen said real quick. The vast majority of the comments are very, very positive. And I asked John, I know he'll share them with the team because they were very, very positive as I went through. There are probably two quick little things that I think we can work on. Somebody once told me that there was a little of rules and regulations for the lake or
Yes.
all that we're going through. I don't know if there's a booklet still out there or not, but there seems like there's people that want something out there. There's things that I know, these are from some discussions and stuff too. There's things that I know where there's things that have been grandfathered. I don't know if there's a list of the grandfathered things that are there, because sometimes it seems like some of the issues that we may get in was something was grandfathered from before. And I don't even know where the heck the grandfather, who's keeping track of grandfather. And if there ever was kept track of going through, and I can see where that can create some confusion in some people's mind. And then I think in today's modern technology capabilities, I think if there was something when a person actually went and inspected a location to give advice in that, if there was some way that we could just have a quick little form that discussed what they went there for, gave their a quick little recommendation of what they said with some pictures, they clean up a lot of things when it comes to the board. And people ask questions about, well, this or that, this is what was agreed to or wasn't agreed to. A couple of pictures would probably clean up a lot of things going on and maybe stop some of the things the stuff that we get tied up into of going on, just eliminate that. I thought it was excellent, the information that came back in.
I didn't get much beyond the one comment that said John Callahan does a very good job.
I
Looks
should
like you
have
read a little further.
I should have said that. I should have brought that right up. No,
Um,
actually, whoever hired him, that was the smartest person. So who the heck hired you, Jen? I don't know. But
You're right, we did
did your wife send that one in?
and
Or your
that was
mother?
good. That was nice. I only
Depends
thought
on the
that-
day, how much you get done at home.
Well, we've already, the rules and regs are online. Sometimes, as we've done in the past, it helps to get those back out via social media and just draw people's attention to that. They do, every new permittee does get the permit booklet still. But certainly on the communication side, I think there's always room for improvement. And this process has reinforced that for sure.
Well, I think, just one comment, I think when John took over, we sort of gave him a tour of the lake. And took the boat down through some places, and I said, well, how come this guy's got, stones all the way down to the water and everything? Well, that was grandfathered in, many chairmans ago, okay? So, yeah, that'd be a good idea.
And I just want to note on that one in particular, that was a result of litigation, and I forget the name, but it's a little bit different than, and I'm no rules and regs genealogy expert, who was the grandfather or the great-grandfather, but some of these were resolved through litigation.
Right. I'm twitching a little bit because we do have a draft policy in place to address all aspects of the work permit process, what has been approved previously, and the criteria for approval going forward, which was designed when we did it 4 or 5 years ago to address that grandfathering concept. You may have done something years and years ago that either passed muster or was not observed. If you are going to move forward from this day forward, or the 5 years ago forward, you have to follow the permitting process that we've laid out. And really that was designed to eliminate that kind of grandfathering argument. We recognize that it will take a long time to eliminate all instances where there is some inequity based on what has happened previously. But going forward, you're not going to be able to get to a board member, for instance, and get approval to do something that is outside the bounds of what the entire board has agreed to allow you to do. And that policy is online, available under the permit page.
Any comments, anybody? Okay, well then we will move on to contracts. First one is a resolution authorizing the expenditure of $6,403.25 for the purchase of 6 replacement sections of log boom for Stillwater Dam. Mr. Polk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The resolution can be found on page 14. We have 6 sections of log boom at Stillwater Reservoir, which are over 25 years old and have succumbed to their age, waterlogged and sinking, and so those need to be replaced. And this resolution would authorize the expenditure of $6,403.25 for the purchase of 6 replacement sections of log boom. Happy to answer any questions if you have.
Any questions? If not, a motion to accept the proposal.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second? Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, resolution to award Black River Area Field Office fuel storage tank removal and replacement work to Bach Environmental. Again, Mr. Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Find that resolution on page 16. Existing fuel storage tanks are at least 30 years old. Not situated in the best location relative to both slope and proximity to and slope to the reservoir. And so as part of our rebuilding of the garage at Stillwater, we're looking to relocate and install new tanks on a slope and in a location which will hopefully, if there were to be any issues with the tank, removed properly from the shoreline and the lake, and allow completion of the construction of the garage as we had intended. So we're looking to award the work to Bach Environmental for $22,480.
Any comments?
Quite a difference in the bids, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Hey, Tim, just on the contingency where you're getting the money from, that's just money that, just general.
We had budgeted in this account for unforeseeable
Okay, so this is
scenarios
capital, this is
like
capital
like
account.
this one, and this is just moving money from the contingency account to the account where the money would be expended from.
And then Rob, just one question for you, capital plan. It would seem like a lot of this type of stuff would be in a capital plan that we would see on an annual basis of, hey, here's the things, or maybe it's even a 5-year plan. These are the things that we've got to do over the next 5 years of going out. I know we've talked about capital plans a couple times and stuff, but I sometimes it seems like what has to get done first, and is it the most important thing that we've got to replace? That's my only question. A capital plan would help us as a board understand these are the things over the next 3 years or so, over the next year or 3 years. And I know it can change.
Right.
You know, it'll change without a doubt. But at least it gives us some idea that it's not just because we've got money and this is what we're going to do now. It's
Right.
what we consider to be the most important thing.
Right.
So we do go through a fairly exhaustive process internally to identify items like this that ought to be addressed in that 3-year budget cycle that we, the regulating district, is statutorily required to follow. The budget document that we now publish after the board acts every 3 years is available online, and a substantial portion of it being an infrastructure organization, a substantial part of that document and the underlying tables is devoted to capital projects, infrastructure rehabilitation for items like this, as well as the bigger stuff that we spend an awful lot of time talking about as well.
Yeah, I'm looking for more details. So Tim is what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Instead of that big category that everything can fit into. Because again, the idea is, let's make sure we're spending the money in the right place and not the one that just popped up. That's all.
Yep, here, I think we're doing that, but always happy to engage more on the subject.
Any other comments? Okay, I need a motion to accept the replacement of the storage tank.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We move on to a resolution of intent of the regulating district to serve as lead agency for the Sixth Lake Dam reconstruction, seeker compliance, and to issue notice of determination of non-significance. Mr. West?
On page 18 of your board packet is the first of 2 resolutions. The second one is on page 26. The first resolution would memorialize the board's decision to designate itself as the principal agent responsible for assessing the environmental impact of the proposed project to rehabilitate the Sixth Lake Dam. The second resolution would do the same with respect for the rehabilitation of the old Forge Dam. What we've done is set them up as two separate resolutions so that each of those projects is assessed for its environmental impact, recognizing that the projects are actually in different counties and in different regions from DEC's perspective. Nonetheless, I think we expect that we will bid both projects as a single contract and that a single contractor will complete both projects. That said, the impacts of each project are individual to that or specific to that project. There's also a cumulative impact of conducting both projects at the same time and the disruption that could cause. So we tried to look at them kind of as separate entities or separate projects, and also collectively to ensure that we looked at all the potential impacts. Pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, the board has an obligation to assess the project's environmental impacts before committing district resources to the project. Now, in both cases, we have already committed some resources because we had to do an evaluation of basically what needed to be done. I think Rob had confirmed for me that at this point we have a pretty good understanding of what needs to be done. And now the board is getting ready in the next several months to commit significant monies to those projects. So now is the time, once we've conducted numerous studies and reviewed with dam safety, DEC dam safety, and commissioned final designs, we're now in a position to confirm or determine whether there will be an environmental impact. It's staff recommendation that we feel that the Sixth Lake project and the Old Forge project neither will have an impact on the environment, and collectively they're not going to have an impact on the environment. We've characterized both as type 2 actions, meaning that it's basically a replacement in kind. But we have assessed both projects as unlisted actions under seeker. And because we have assessed them as unlisted actions, we have prepared a draft negative declaration for the board to consider. That draft neg deck starts on page 22 with regard to Sixth Lake, and several pages later in the packet with regard to Old Forge. You've all had an opportunity to look through the draft resolution, which basically recites the same things that we put in the negative declaration. Any questions about the review that staff have undertaken and that the board is about to embrace?
Any questions or comments? We have to do this two separate resolutions.
I think it would be best to
Okay,
do it
okay.
two separate resolutions.
Okay, so the question is, I need I need a resolution for the intent of regulating the district to serve as lead agency for the Six Lake Dam reconstruction, secret compliance, and to issue a notice of determination of non-significance. Have that motion?
I will.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, a resolution of intent for regulating districts to serve as lead agency for the Old Forge Dam reconstruction, secret compliance, and to issue a notice of determination of non-significance. Do I have a motion?
I will make that motion.
Second,
I'll second.
further discussion, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is a resolution to award the regulating district's marine insurance program. Approve marine insurance proposal policy for the year July 1st, 2025, June 30th, 2026. Mr. Meehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You can find this resolution on page 34 of your packet. It seeks approval to pay for the coverage on the workboat, which, as all of you know, is the workhorse of the regulating district's erosion control efforts in and around Sakanaga Lake. We bring this as a standalone resolution because its term is different than the other insurance coverages, which are more numerous and more varied. And because of that difference in term, we work directly with Arthur J. Gallagher to obtain this necessary coverage. The cost of this has recently risen over the last few years now, and it exceeds the $5,000 threshold for board approval, which we respectfully seek. And I am happy to answer any questions you have on this resolution.
Any questions or comments? If not, I need a resolution to approve the expenditure.
I'll make that.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Ray. Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is resolution to approve amendment number 8 to the Indian Lake First Engineering Assessment Contract C032013. Mr. Colgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You can find my memorandum, I believe, on page 36. It's, as you mentioned, related to the Indian Lake Dam rehabilitation project. In August of last year, the contractor on the project, C.D. Perry, and its subcontractors identified extensive deterioration of the gatehouse stone foundation during its attempt to complete planned repointing repair work at the foundation and on adjoining structures. The exact condition and full extent of the deterioration of the gatehouse foundation was unknown at the time that the project was originally bid back in July of 2023, and unknown prior to the extensive underwater investigation and inspection completed by the contractor and subcontractor. Although it's not seen as an emergency dam safety concern, the condition of the stone foundation must be improved for the structure to be deemed safe for continued operation. So the staff has asked our consulting engineer, Collier's Engineering Design, to put together a proposal for work related to and design work related to that foundation repair. And staff recommends modifying the scope of work contract C03-2013 to include the additional engineering, design services, and construction support and inspection services, and seeks board authorization to amend contract C03-2013 to include the scope and fee as proposed by Colliers in their proposal dated April 29th, 2025. And we request authorization for the executive director to execute an amendment to increase the contract value by $575,000 to a phase 2 not to exceed contract value of $2,988,378. and Greg Johnson, who's been our lead engineer and water discipline leader at Colliers, is here. He's certainly available to answer any questions you might have concerning the additional engineering work or the project itself.
Yeah, you first before you call it. I want to apologize to you. I went blank on your name when I went to address guests. So,
It's okay, I do it to my kids all the time.
Do you have any comments, anything you want to add to this?
In general, as Rob said, the condition of that gatehouse was unknown when we did our design. We did do dive investigation of the dam, but we did not go into the gatehouse for safety reasons. So that condition was unknown. Once the contractor got in there by taking the gates off or the trash racks off there and going in, it was immediately apparent to us watching the dive video that that was a condition that should not remain. It's not an imminent thing, but something that should be addressed sooner rather than later. So that's in a nutshell that. A good part of that additional funding is due to the field inspection and certification needed for the construction. That's not all design fee. I don't know what the breakup is, but it's a complicated design, number one. All has to be done underwater, and then it takes time, so there's a significant amount just for the construction inspection side of it as well. But I'll answer any questions you have.
You know, we anticipate the work, the additional work, will probably take close to 5 months, I think, for the contractor to complete. So it'll be extending the construction, and to Greg's point, that requires continued on-site monitoring, and that is probably the bulk of that fee of $575,000 is to have the full-time construction inspection on-site.
Probably important to note too, Rob, for folks, for our guests here today, for folks viewing the meeting remotely or later on, this work, like the project so far, would not necessitate any changes to normal water levels or regulation.
That's correct. Correct. Yep. We'll continue to operate the reservoir just as we always have. So.
Does anyone here from the Indian Lake area have a question? Just heard, comment? Okay.
No, I just want the dam to be safe.
So do we.
Us too.
Okay, so I would like a motion to extend the contract by $575,000.
I'll make that motion.
Second, any further discussion or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, I need a resolution authorizing the expenditure of up to $46,158.45 for the purchase of a replacement pickup truck in the Black River area. Mr. Callahan.
And not one penny more. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Want to just.
Couldn't get them to round that.
Yeah, 45 cents.
One will recall, last year we replaced one vehicle pursuant to our capital program for this 3-year period at the Black River area. That replaced a larger truck, but a smaller dump truck. It was used primarily for plowing and larger projects with a 1-ton pickup. The Black River field office staff had sought in their proposed capital budget the replacement of this vehicle and the purchase of a gooseneck trailer through negotiation. We got them to commit to one or the other. Initially, in the final capital program, had approved purchase of the gooseneck trailer for use out there. But to Mr. Reagan's point earlier, once you get into any budget period, things do change, priorities do change. And we've eliminated for this cycle the gooseneck trailer, given the availability of a dump trailer that can be borrowed from the Hudson River area if necessary. And as we know, this is incidentally the sort of everyday use pickup truck travel around for our field office staff. And even though the miles are not necessarily too terribly high, they are still water reservoir miles, which are built a little different, as we know from folks traveling there. So we have made this change in the capital program budget with, as you'll see at the bottom of the resolution, a small budget transfer to make up the difference, which was $5,869. And with that, we'd ask for the support of this purchase. Pause for any questions the members may have.
Yeah, I don't know about the 45 cents. I just wonder about that Dodge Ram 2500 being gas efficient, John. I have one.
Yeah, we're not doing a lot of highway miles out there, as you know, Mr. Reagan, but yeah,
That's good, John.
I think the staff chose the vehicle for its utility, and it did look a lot of different options. I'm not prepared to say in that selection matrix where gas mileage was, but staff is satisfied that this will be the right tool for the job.
But we got no gas tank, we're gonna get a good price on gas.
It'll do one fill up. We have a motion to,
I'll make that motion.
second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move on to staff and committee reports. First one, General Counsel, Mr. Leslie.
I would say that Mr. Cameron and I met with representatives from the General Recoveries Unit at Conklingville regarding our Erie Boulevard hydropower litigation. We'll talk more extensively about that in the executive session. We also continue to work with the Village of Northville to advance their project to construct a pedestrian walkway. They had sent over a draft description and survey. Dan Kiskus noticed that their proposed line bisected a permit area on the end of the causeway and asked that they move that line. So the village's surveyor is, I believe, moving that line, which will tweak the description a little bit. Once we get that, we'll have a deed ready and we can go forward. We continue to work with our outside counsel, who is representing us with regard to the injury that happened at Indian Lake. They're in the discovery process at this point. But we have, I cannot capture the word, it's not a binder, but a tender offer from each of the affected insurance companies, so we are covered with regard to that injury. That pretty much consumed most of my time during the reporting period. Free to answer any questions that anybody may have.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Leslie. Director of Administrative Services, Ms. Woznicki.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My report is located on page 57 of the board packet. During the reporting period, I performed compliance audits at the Mayfield office and the Albany office. These audits are conducted to ensure compliance with the established policies and procedures. Proper procedures are in place and no deficiencies were noted. We have 2 seasonal employees at the Sacandaga field office, Noah and Jackson. Jackson was previously employed last year and he came back this year. We received 11 applications at the Sacandaga field office and unfortunately no applications for the Black River field office. Finally, on pages 58 through 60 are the contract status reports. They are included in your board packet to meet the public authority requirement. If you have any questions, if not, that concludes my report.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chief Fiscal Officer, Mr. Miecha.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You may find the CFO report on page 61 of your packet. As I had, as John mentioned earlier, and as I had indicated just a couple of days ago, subsequent to the preparation of this CFO report, as all of you know, the state of New York completed largely its budget process for their 2025-26 fiscal year. Happy to report that a fifth capital appropriation to be providing financial assistance in support of infrastructure rehabilitation of the regulating districts, dams and reservoirs was included in that enacted budget, bringing the total assistance over now 5 years to approaching $80 million. We are extremely grateful for the leadership, not just of the members of this board, but also of the governor for having made that in a part of her executive budget proposal back in January. We are very grateful for the partnership that we have forged with the members of her team in the executive chamber and the division of the budget. We are very grateful to the members and staff of the Senate and the Assembly who advocate on behalf of the regulating district and the people it serves for this enormous support. Otherwise, we would be where we were prior to 5 years ago, asking ourselves very, very hard questions about how we extend the useful life of the infrastructure for which the regulating district is responsible. And I could say a lot more, but in the interest of time and the other business we have, happy to answer any questions that anybody has about that or any other aspect of regulating district finances.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Next week, our chief engineer, Mr. Fulton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My report begins on page 102. In April, in the Hudson River area, we saw between 78 and 82% of historic average precip and between 64 and 85% of historic average inflow. In the Black River area, we had a range of 74 to 122% of historic average precip and inflow of approximately 75% of historic average. As such, our reservoirs refilled rather gradually and as close to probably historically average as you might, although that refilling did start a few weeks earlier than historic refilling typically takes place. But I think I can fairly say there was an uneventful refilling through the month of April, and the reservoirs are full, and now we are managing releases and elevations as we typically do prior to beginning the drawdown of reservoirs on or around June 1st of each year. Be happy to answer any questions on operations if you have.
Any questions and for our guests? And if you look page 108, it's got the graph.
Okay.
And the only comment I have is since Black River has taken over, you've done great at controlling the releases. And I remember when I was a kid, it would be drained down some years to mud mostly. So thank you for the releases the way you do them.
That's the guy.
Very kind words.
Thank you.
Any further comments? Thank you.
Yep.
Any other board member questions or comments? Last, I need a resolution for our next board meeting, which is 6/10, tentatively scheduled right now for Mayfield. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, I need a resolution to go into executive session to discuss the Erie Boulevard hydropower problem. And I need a motion to go into executive session. And I want to invite all the board members and all the staff that's here to go to that.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And we will not be conducting business coming out of it. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We're going into executive session.
Thank you all.
Megan, we can stop the recording?
10:46.